What's up, everybody? It's Sid and Millie. We're back with another episode here. Little random topic. So what are we going to be talking about today, Millie?
Today we are going to be chatting about for-profit systems. Essentially, we find that most systems that are essentially driven solely by profit and not at all by benefiting the people and benefiting the public or the masses, it causes literally most of society's problems. So that is essentially my thesis, that for-profit systems and unchecked capitalism is inherently predatory.
Yeah, okay. I love that. All right, so let's break it down, Millie. What are some of the systems that you want to kind of focus on, or do you want to maybe break down?
Well, I guess to start off, first one I would say is healthcare, right? Like,
easy.
For example, Eli Lilly is the first company on earth that has now become worth over $1 trillion. There is no need for a company to be $1 trillion entity. No. It just does not make sense. And I say that to say, like, a for-profit system essentially indicates that care is not the motive, right? Like, off the bat, if your motive is for profit, paying back stock shareholders, maximizing profit, extracting as much as you can from paying customers, your goal is not actually a health company. So I think for starters, like, you cannot be in healthcare working for the public health, or in a like industry like that, but then you're for profit. I think that
because I mean, I just feel like, and we talk about this, if you're in the business of helping people, that's what you're supposed to be doing, your main priority should be the people.
Just that, literally helping people. It's just like, it's insane to me. Like, it extends beyond just like the company level as well, you know, because if you look at my next system would be like infrastructure, for example, right? A big reason why we don't have trains in the United States is because people say, like, they're ineffective, they're massively expensive, people won't ride them, all of those things, right? But the reality is, the reason why we don't have infrastructure, train infrastructure specifically, is because it isn't profitable for companies. That's the reason they don't want to do it. Look at what's happening with the Florida train system right now. They built a train that connected a few cities in Florida, and because of low ridership, they are struggling and about to declare bankruptcy. But again,
how much were the tickets?
Thank you. Exactly. How much were the tickets were ridiculous. The tickets were massively overcharged.
And I just feel like that's because they had to invest so much money into creating the train tracks, investing in the trains and getting it to run, and they're trying to make that buck back quick.
Exactly.
When that's just not the mindset.
That shouldn't be the mindset, because again, the motive should have been providing a additional avenue of transportation and infrastructure for the people that live in that area. That is the goal of providing infrastructure. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like that sort of mindset of, oh, we have to turn this profitable. It has to be a profitable business. No, it is meant to be a public service. It is meant to be a public service, which means it shouldn't be motivated by profit. It should be motivated by, does this help the people? If the answer is yes, continue.
Exactly. And that is what our taxes should be going towards.
100%. Which kind of, now we can tie that. That's a great segue back into like the healthcare element, right? Because it's just like, if you think about healthcare, everything in the United States is so privatized. We obviously have no state system other than like the small select group of Americans that are on the Affordable Care Act.
Right.
We don't necessarily have a set governmental healthcare plan. It's a lot privatized. But in our country, we have over 40 people who have become multi-billionaires off of healthcare.
Which is just not okay.
Does that make sense to you? No one should be becoming a billionaire off of healthcare.
No.
That should not be happening. And the reason that happens is through predatory practices. It's because care is not at the forefront of these people's mind, right? That's the reason it costs $30,000 to get in an ambulance. That's the reason it costs $100,000 to get a minor procedure. It is because these organizations are trying to maximize their profits. They don't have care at the forefront of their mission statements.
Not at all. And one of like the craziest things to me is the amount of people that go bankrupt for medical emergencies.
Yeah.
And just medical treatments.
Yeah.
In the United States.
And if you didn't know, the United States has the highest rate of medical debt and medical bankruptcies in the entire developed world. So out of all of the first world countries on earth, the United States has the highest rate of medical debt and medical bankruptcies.
This doesn't make sense.
Does that doesn't make sense. And that is at the same time as claiming to be the richest country on the planet. So
yeah, but who's rich?
Exactly, a select few group of people, and that just highlights again the predatory nature. If companies were focused on actually giving people care, that's what they would do, right? Insulin would be free, right? Like Eli Lilly wouldn't be trying to maximize profits on selling insulin to people who need it or they'll die, right? The fact that there are companies who are profiting off of medication that is life-saving, that's sick. That's sickening. Sick. You know what I mean? Like that isn't how society should be set up. Like if people have to choose between life or death, and we're putting death or life behind a paywall, that is literally dystopian. That's dystopian. Way to put it,
putting life behind a paywall. Because literally, people will show up to hospitals asking for help, and nobody will do anything until they show their insurance.
Exactly. And like insurance, we all know that most insurance companies aren't actually paying out for a lot of people. A lot of people go without care because their insurance won't cover the exuberant expenses put on them, you know, by these facilities and by these healthcare
we
providers.
have to pay it.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, it is a very flawed system, and it is clear that the consumer, the person who is spending the money, the person who is receiving the care, or the person who is supposed to be receiving said service or whatever, we are the ones that suffer. We get the shortcoming off of these companies' solely profit-driven motives.
Yeah.
Because they're giving us a worse and worse product and continuing to force it upon us essentially, and we have no choice but to accept it because they're so powerful.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, honestly, we literally can't do anything. And like, it's so tough as well when people argue against universal health care and like, you know, what is your thought on the argument about like the wait times and like those things in terms of why people will argue against universal health care?
It's a massively flawed argument. It is 100% just a fallacy argument that they're essentially trying to display when they say that, because people in the United States wait for care all the time. If you want a procedure in the United States, you are still 100% waiting weeks, months, 6 months on end for a procedure.
So true.
Are you serious? Like, our country's healthcare system is one of the worst in the developed world. Like I already mentioned, the level of medical debt, the level of medical bankruptcies in the United States, it is unmatched.
Yeah.
That is one category that we are leading the world in, right? Like, and that's not a good one to be leading the world in. No. So it's laughable when people argue against universal health care. It just shows that they just don't really understand like the system at hand. They don't really, I guess, like also probably have not been in a situation where they've needed care. That's also a reality for a lot of people. They can't really think about what happened if that's me, right? Like, a lot of people in society don't really lead with empathy.
That's true.
And so they can't really put themselves in that position of someone who might be in need of care but can't afford it, right?
Yeah, true. And like the argument that people, not argument, but like the way to try and I guess create empathy is like people will often talk about, well, what if your child was going through this?
Yeah.
But it's just like,
or what if your family member?
Yeah, like it shouldn't have to be that way for people to understand that like people are going through these things without it having a direct impact on you.
Exactly. It's just like, that's just like pure selfishness, right? Like, empathy is being able to extend your human care to another human being without there being like a reason to. You shouldn't need a contingency to care about another human being's well-being. And that's kind of, again, it all kind of ties together into what a huge part of our society is, right? There's a small group of individuals that are hoarding all of the resources and all of this wealth and they are creating all of these predatory systems that mirror their own practices of like hoarding wealth and like creating this exuberant wealth. Like if you're a company that like Eli Lilly, I keep bringing them up just because they're the biggest company in the world, or the richest company rather. But it's just like, if you're a company of that size, a company isn't a being, right? A company is a, you know, it's just like this. It's nothing. It's not like an actual thing. It's just an idea.
Entity.
Exactly. Yeah. But like a non-living entity. So it's just like, there's no need for companies to be turning out billion and trillion dollars of profit. What is that for? What does that do for humanity? What does that do for the people who helped create that wealth? What does that do for all the people who don't have a roof over their head? There's just no reason a company should have $1 billion or make $1 billion in profit. It just shouldn't, like, our system just shouldn't even allow that.
Especially with those predatory practices.
It's that in and of itself is predatory, because 100%. It again creates a barrier for systems that actually benefit the people, because the people cannot be benefited while the ones who control the system are continuously rigging the system to solely benefit themselves.
Facts.
And that's what we're seeing like across the board.
100%. And you know, bringing it back to like the empathy point of just like, they have created a society that is so individualistic. And like the reason why people aren't able to feel that empathy for others is because everyone's going through their own things.
Definitely.
Especially financially. I mean, literally just looking at medical debt is scary in this country.
100%.
So like, that is the reason, and it's again because of these predatory companies that don't help people. They don't help people out of tough spots.
And it's not 100%. And it's not just that they don't help people at their company or on the company basis. They then lobby our government to make sure our government and our own politicians do not pass laws that benefit the people, that only will benefit their company. So do you see like what they're like, that is what we're saying, is that all of these things are interconnected. It's like these companies are ran by these selfish hoarders who are creating a predatory system, and then they're using their power and their money to then rig the system to make them untouchable, essentially.
Truly.
And it just continues to make things worse and worse and worse for consumers. Consumers always are bearing the brunt of this, because as we all know, as we're all experiencing right now, our fuel prices are higher than ever, our grocery prices are higher than ever, the cost of living is higher than ever. Every time you leave your house, it costs money. Like, our country is not set up for people to thrive right now.
And like, not only that, and let's just talk about salary growth. And wage growth, minimum
wage stagnation.
Yes, literally, like those things on top of everything Lily just listed. It's like people are literally just being pinched at every corner, and just not able to actually like thrive in life. And like,
go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, with how everything is becoming so expensive, especially right now, like people who are making minimum wage or like not making large salaries every year, like the buying power now is just like so minimal. And it's really
bad.
sad.
It really is. And it definitely speaks volumes to like the consumers themselves. Like, at the end of the day, we exist within a consumer economy, and the best way for consumers to fight back against these giant corporations and these predatory systems is to hold on to our money. Like, that's the reality. As much as they think they don't need us and they're trying to replace workers with AI, at the end of the day, the workers, the human beings that exist in the system, we uphold the economy because we're the ones that are doing the work, doing the jobs. We are the essential workers, right? We know that Jeff Bezos and Mark Zuck are never going to be on the floor, you know, packaging the packages when staffing gets short, right? We know they won't do that. But I guarantee you, if all the Amazon workers don't show up for work, someone's going to notice. Right?
100%.
Everyone's going to notice. So who do we think is more important at the company? The guy that no one ever sees and doesn't do any work, or the people who are doing the work on the ground floor? Like, the people 100%. Hold the power. We hold the power. So again, we can fight back against their predatory systems by withholding our money, essentially not spending it in the system until change is made, because that's what we need.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
Vast changes, because it isn't crazy for Americans to expect our tax dollars to garnish services from our government. That is the entire point of government. Our tax dollars are supposed to get us services. That's what we are paying in for. So the fact that our government isn't providing us services, that should be massively alarming for us. And again, like that is the point. Like not all, like, and I say that not all of these programs need to be for profit, right? You had, Doge or whatever, that idiot's thing that he tried to run in the government, where they made a bunch of cuts that have now cost millions of people their lives, right? So it's not about making cuts in necessary places. It's about realizing that not everything has to turn a profit. Some systems, some programs are solely meant to benefit and work for the people.
Yeah.
And if our government doesn't do that and companies don't do that, the consumers are screwed. And that is massively predatory.
Yeah, so, I mean, it is massively predatory.
So that's
some of our thoughts.
Yeah, those are some of our thoughts on the lack of for people systems that we have. Everything in the world cannot be a for-profit system. It can't be. We are running. Shouldn't be. We are running our species to extinction on our current path, and that is what we're risking here. And that's what is at stake. We have to stop these systems and not allow them to continue to progress, because again, if the whole goal of humanity isn't to uplift every single human out of poverty and make sure every human has food and every human has shelter, then what are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing as a species?
Maybe it does need a reset.
Those are our thoughts on predatory systems such as for-profit systems. And yeah, if you made it this far,
thanks for watching.
We'll
see you next time.
We'll see you next time. Peace.